Hey everybody, I'm Gary McLean, and you are watching Talent Talk. Welcome to this, our 100th episode, and what a journey it has been. I'm so happy that I've been able to share, um, you know, these last 100 episodes with not only you, the viewers, but the guests as well. And I'm really hoping that we can actually continue this journey for at least another 100 episodes. And one way that you can actually make that a reality is by subscribing to the YouTube channel today and spreading the word. Let people know about the show and have them tune in, if you will. Now, for the past 4 seasons, this has been a show that's been a bit of a passion project and something that I've been funding out of pocket. And going into season 5 next season, it's just not sustainable. So what I will be doing in the off season is looking for partners or sponsorship. So if you or if you know somebody else who wants to kind of help out a little local podcast, feel free to reach out either directly or send me links to people, whatever the case is, and it will all be very helpful. And I would love to listen to people. On that note, this episode, just a reminder that this is also available on podcast mediums such as Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, just to name a few. If you'd like a full list of where you can listen to them, check out the description details of this episode and previous season 4 episodes. And finally, this is live and interactive. And it's one of my favorite parts of the show. So if you have any comments, questions, concerns, just want to say hi or give me a hard time, throw it into the comment section and we will make every effort to address it as the show goes on. Now, for this 100th episode, today's guest is a local actor, collaborator, and just generally nice guy. I've had the pleasure of working with him on a few different projects, both directly and indirectly, and I can tell you that this gentleman's natural acting ability never ceases to amaze me, and I foresee nothing but great things for this guy, and I am looking forward to seeing his career flourish, and I hope you are as well. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Chris Schuler. This guy.
Hi.
How's it going, man?
Not too bad. How are you doing?
Good, good. Yeah, can't
Yeah.
complain. It's actually a
Uh,
nice day today,
yeah.
weather-wise.
I mean, we're inside, so we picked a great day to do
Well,
this
if I
inside.
really peek around the corner, I can kind of see outside, so it's not bad.
Okay. We
Yeah,
should have gone to the patio, done like an in-person patio one, got some beers.
right. Just
Yeah.
have some beers. Yeah, yeah. Just set my laptop on the snow on the table there.
Keeps it chilled.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to use that cheap Canadian universal refrigeration, that we provide 6 months of the year.
All natural. Yep.
Yeah, I hear my taxes are going to that, and I'm proud of that. I fully support it.
Yeah. No. Wow. That's. We've already got a couple compliments. I'm loving this
We've got
already.
compliments.
Look at that.
What a handsome couple of gentlemen. Oh,
Right.
thank you. Thank you, Mr.
I,
Dragon.
I I agree with that one, but
To me, you just pointed off to the side at like the StreamYard duck on my screen.
Oh, did I? Oh,
Yeah,
so
I'm on the
I'm
other
pointing.
side for you. See, now I'm pointing at
Oh,
you on my screen.
and you are on my screen as well. So that's weird. Okay. Good to know.
Oh, I can't reach over the screen.
Anyway, that's kind of weird. So, dude, I've heard that you have been super busy of late.
Mhm.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit of what you've been working on, or maybe you can't. I don't know if you have NDAs in effect or not, but
I think I can tell you most of what I've been doing. I can't tell you like plot details on some of them, but
all right.
I've been doing a lot of crew stuff lately. I've been working as an assistant locations manager. It's the only way to kind of get in there with like a steady, film career. Kind of,
Right. Yep.
yeah. It's unless you're working on a sitcom or a TV show, there's not really full-time acting work. So, and then on top of that, I've been doing a few other projects. Like I did one called Maury recently with Omada, another guest and friend of ours.
Yeah.
That was out in the woods. I play a guy who gets shot. I don't think that's a spoiler because that's literally before you see me, you hear the gunshot.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a habit of dying or getting hurt in my movies.
So you're the Canadian Sean Bean, is what you're saying?
Yeah, or Kim Coates.
Oh, yeah, that's another one.
Kim
Yeah.
Coates, I think, has died 300 times or something in movies. So, yeah. But yeah, except for you interviewed the director and cast of Grotesque recently.
Yes. Yeah.
which is this huge gory horror movie, and I'm one of the few people that doesn't get a huge gory death. I was like, this is the
Yeah.
weirdest movie to break my spree of getting hurt in every movie I'm in.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, because I did watch it.
Yeah,
And so good job, by the way.
thank
And
you. I actually was supposed to play a different character, and then I ended up playing the character I did just through some scheduling and availability issues with the original actor they cast. And,
okay, all
yeah, I
right.
ended up playing Tim.
So the original character you were supposed to play, would he have died?
No,
Oh,
the
so you just
original.
avoided it altogether.
Yeah,
That whole
the
death.
original character I played witnessed a character's death, and I get taunted, so it would have been emotional pain, but no physical infirmary.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And it was a smaller part, so I wouldn't have had to do like all the fun because on all the Brandon Rhiness shows or Higher Universe Pictures, I guess if you want to be technical about it, they're all just like, you know, having a blast and people screwing around, and it we're just having fun, and then it'll be like, oh yeah, we gotta film something. Yeah, let's throw the camera off. It's probably about like an hour of improv, and then we have 10 minutes of what we're supposed to do, and like, shut up,
That's yeah,
Chris. We're making a
yeah.
movie. You're derailing it again.
Totally off track.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
all good though. At least as long as you're having fun on set. I mean, come on.
yeah. Well, I was having fun, and I was acting, and then I ended up doing a few other things around because I remember we were shooting that around Halloween, and then we'd be like, which was good because we had like spirit Halloween stuff. We'd be like, oh no, we need like a wig and some more fake blood. Like, run, get in the car, Chris, go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you had multiple hats on that show as well, then.
Yeah,
Not
yeah. I
just the
kind of,
actor
I
hat.
kind
Yeah,
of picked up a couple hats while I was doing it. I got to do a
yeah.
little bit of special effects and stuff, which was fun. So,
Which you know what? Actually, I didn't know that about you until recently. That you actually did that kind of thing, the special
uh,
effects.
yeah. I mean, I just kind of. I mean, I'm talking like the gore effects and that, not the visual
Yeah,
effects. Just to be clear.
totally,
Yeah,
totally.
I know
Yes.
a little bit of that, but not nearly as much as people believe I do. I kind
Well,
of
you
make it
see,
up on the spot.
that's okay though. You just let people keep believing that. Say, oh, he's brilliant
Well,
with
the problem
special
is,
effects and all
I
that.
had let people believe that, and then they start calling me out on it. They're going like, "Hey, can you help do this, or can you do this?" And I'm like, like, like big names, starting to be like, "Hey, I hear you do VFX. Here's a project," and I'm like, I can't do that. Not in your
Yeah,
time frame.
yeah, no doubt.
I need like a month to figure that out.
I guess to it where you're like, okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
can't do everything. Yeah. Fair enough. Um, well, one of the other questions I wanted to ask you because I'm trying to remember if we actually talked
Virgo.
about it. Yeah,
I'm
no,
a
it wasn't
Virgo.
that.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Are you from Calgary?
I am from Calgary, born and raised.
Born and raised.
Yeah. Although we did spend a lot of time on the family farm growing up.
Okay.
Like we'd go out weekends, we'd go out branding and harvest season and that. So I'd say it's kind of, I'm not really a farm boy, but I'm not really like a city slicker. So I'm like a farm slicker. I'm like in between the two. You know, I'm like I'm a fancy dandy, city boy when I'm out on the farm, and then
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
maybe a little less dirt adverse and frugal for city people.
And whereabouts is the farm? Like general
uh,
location?
it's about 3.5 hours east of here, by
Okay.
Oyen, north
Yep.
of Oyen, by Esther. For anyone who knows the population of 3 town of Esther. It's just a mailbox, really.
It's yeah, right. Yeah, just a drive-by mailbox that keeps getting hit by baseball bats. What was I gonna say about that?
I don't know.
Anyway, you can't read my mind. I mean, how long have we known each
I,
other? Like,
I turned on the parental controls on my mind reader after some of the things I saw in there, and it's just
oh,
a
we had.
blank slate. Like, oh, my mom's on here now. Uh-oh,
There you
I gotta
go.
watch my language.
Yeah, you got to be a good boy now. That's it. Good farm boy.
Yeah. If you
Farm
guys
slicker.
start asking me film stories, I might need you to kick her out of the show. Yeah.
And I do want to kind of go back. So now that we've got a bit of a history of your farm slicker,
Yeah.
That's fun to say. Anyway, so when you're on set,
Hmm.
for example, the fact that you're doing a little bit of both camera, acting work and behind the camera stuff, uh, from your perspective, what importance do you find there is in being able to do both?
I find it's always well, it's always useful to have extra skills. Um, I've never understood people that just blatantly say like, "Ah, there's no reason to know any of this," or "Why would you want to do that?" Or, um, you know, like people. One thing is that I'm bilingual, which has also come in handy quite a few times on shows. Um, like a lot of the time, I end up having to teach people languages for some reason, which is always kind of a interesting experience. Like with Amada on Assassin's League, trying to teach him to speak French, and then I also had to try and teach Yuri some French there. But I've had a lot of people that'll kind of look down on that. And they're like, "Well, why would you want to learn French?" I'm like, "I don't see what's wrong with learning a new skill or
No, no,
ability. It only
no.
makes it more." So yeah, and I've found that knowing more about the process behind the camera and the goings on there, it really it helps. Like it doesn't take away from it, but it you have more of an idea of what the crew's looking for, what you're kind of doing, and you end up with a better performance because you know what's going on the other side of it, and you can kind of understand it. Like
Yeah,
I've found that actors that have also been crew members tend to be easier to work with because they understand more of where they need to be, what they need to do, and what the process is to make everything go easier than actors that avoid that.
yeah,
And there seems to be like a big disconnect between people that are like, well, I'd rather do all that and work in all the film stuff, and people who view working crew as taking away from time that they could spend studying the craft.
yeah. I definitely see your side of it more so than the other. You also gain well, at least for me, you gain a lot of respect for what those guys actually do, right? The
Mm-hmm.
crew side of it, right?
Well, until you get to know them.
Yeah. I mean, aside from personalities, the fact that they're always the first ones there, they're the last ones to leave. They're
Oh,
always out there in the cold
yeah.
when we're up in a truck in the heated trucks and keeping
Mm-hmm.
ourselves warm as actors, right? They're out there just freezing their asses off, and
Oh, I know. I've been location. I'm location, so I'm the.
so
Yeah,
not that you know anything about it whatsoever.
yeah, yeah. You're working 14 hours your standard day. Usually it's 15, 16. So
Yeah, yeah, totally
yeah.
right. So yeah, nothing but mad respect for crew.
Hmm.
Um,
And I mean, like, if you're a good actor, you're learning while watching other people act and taking in their
sure.
performances in a more practical, I don't know, workplace, blue collar kind of setting that I think is more beneficial and growth based, I would say, than probably just doing classes over and over because it's a very different experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I tend to agree. And so I have two kind of questions there. One, what's your kind of educational background when it comes to acting? Like, have you gone to any schools or anything like that? Uh,
Um,
I'll let you answer that one first.
okay. I later on, like after I'd already kind of gotten back into acting, I went to the Calgary Actor Studio with Daniel Libman, and I've taken some classes at Company of Rogues, and then watch the odd YouTube thing here or there.
Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure, right?
when you don't have the time or the money.
Well, yeah, there's definitely a lot of the no money thing, that's for sure, especially
Yeah,
nowadays, it seems. Um, and you
I
know what?
did.
I
I did
actually,
plan to go to school, originally out of high school, but I think I probably told you the story. But I traveled abroad to Australia and had a near-death experience, which kind of prevented me from attending. So that's kind of where
sh-
that kind of went off the wagon and off the rails, I
I
guess.
mean, if you're comfortable with it, you can regale your near-death experience, I suppose, if you want.
I don't like the glee in your eyes when you ask me that.
A little ding,
This is
hey.
this is why I'm always getting hurt in movies. I just got the most like punchable face. People just love to see me suffer, I guess. Like
Which, yeah, we'll definitely talk on that point a little later as well.
my punchable face. I thought you'd
Well,
never get to it. I thought, yeah.
yeah,
I thought that was going to be a Chenge's interview question, but
yeah, right, yeah,
I thought you were supposed to be the nice one, Gary.
right. Well, you see, I've been working too much with chingays now, so
Picking up
that's
his
what's
bad
happening.
habits.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, no. So out of high school, me and a buddy decided that we wanted to, take a year off and travel. So we went to Australia and went backpacking, which great time. Love the people there. More Canadian than Canadians were. Like there was like polite, incredibly polite people. We met someone in a gas station that we asked for directions, and they drove us an hour out of their way.
Oh,
Like just
wow.
a mom, like not even like the person that worked there. Like gave us like bought us, but made us lunch. Like
Wow. Yeah.
more maple syrup everywhere. You cannot go to a breakfast place in Australia and not find maple syrup, which I am disappointed by the fact that if I go like to Denny's or Phil's or whatever, like they don't have it, or I gotta pay you a premium. Like,
Right? Yeah.
yeah, and they eat waffles and pancakes Canadian style. They call it, which is vanilla ice cream covered in maple syrup, and it's amazing.
Interesting.
And it's like they're like,
Interesting.
what? They're like, oh, that's why everyone over in Canada. That's how they eat. I can't even do the accent right now. Sorry, no, on the spot. But that's what they think we eat it like. And I was like, oh no,
Yeah. No, we don't need. Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no. It's like
You know.
margarine and Aunt Jemima's,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. On occasion,
or
like again
Pearl
at
Milling
the
Company. Yeah,
yeah, or again, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Fair enough. And at the Denny's or the IHOPs, right? You might have some whipped cream. That's about it.
yeah.
That that's kind of the extent of it, really.
Sprinkle some frozen blueberries. Color it a day.
Yeah. Totally. So yeah. So anyway,
Oh,
you've got
sorry. Yeah, I never
yeah.
got to the part where I died. I know that.
Yes.
Sorry, that the interesting part. I never got there. Uh, we went sailing while we were out there around the Whitsundays and around the Great Barrier Reef, and I loved it. That was still the best part of the trip, even with what happened. But then we went scuba diving, and while we were scuba diving, I didn't find this out till later. I didn't know this happened and figured this out until about probably a year after it happened. But we went scuba diving, and I was given a tank that had been used instead of a full tank. And so while I was underwater, I ran out of air and passed out, was flailing about. So they pulled me up and, bleeding from the nose. I had the bends and everything. And, but I felt okay, if not a little like kind of lightheaded and woozy and nauseous for about a week. And then after that, I started getting like a red hot shearing pain every time I breathed. Like if somebody was stabbing a knife into my heart and lung every time I breathed in. So I spent about 3 or 4 days toughing it out by curling up in the fetal position in the hostel because I'd never gone as a patient to a hospital before. So I was like, that's probably just indigestion or my liver disagreeing with my backpacking lifestyle. But eventually my buddy dragged me to the hospital, and they didn't believe that I had a pulmonary embolism at first because they're like, you'd be in incredible pain and you're sitting here joking around with us. And, and I'm like, yeah, that's just kind of what I do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I shove it down deep and I cover it up. Tell jokes to get through the pain. But then they ran, X-rays, MRIs. They did the that old fun dye test, which you've ever done. It feels like you pissed yourself.
Yeah. I haven't done
That
it, but
weird
I've heard
warm
of it.
feeling through your body. Yeah. And so then I had to spend about a week and a half, I believe, or 2 weeks on I had to self-inject anticoagulants into my stomach, and then I had to take really heavy blood thinners, like basically just rat poison at doses that the Australian government says is okay. When I came back to Canada, is way above what the Canadians would allow me to take. And then I flew back and I had to spend about a year on really heavy blood thinners, couldn't eat leafy greens, couldn't drink or anything. I have 2 brothers, and my one younger brother, he used to take, I was on such heavy blood thinners that he would bring his friends over and he'd go, hey, check this out. And he'd go like that. And then you just like, look, and like a whole arm would turn purple. And I'd be like, cool, thanks, bro. This is gonna hurt for 3 weeks now. I'm glad
Right.
it looked
Yeah.
cool for you to show your friends. Like, And it wasn't a one-off.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. So I
That's
was not
unfortunate.
in any. I was constantly lightheaded and bruising at anything. So I wasn't in any condition to go to Vancouver and go to Vancouver Film School for acting, which is what the original plan was. So
Right.
that's kind of where that fell apart for the educational side.
So overall, how long would you say your recovery was?
I mean, other than the fact that I was bruising really easy from the blood thinners, by the time I'd left Australia, I felt I felt okay, but I would get lightheaded easy and I would bruise very easily. But other than that, I generally felt okay. So at one point, I just stopped taking the blood thinners, which no doctor
Sooner than
suggested I do. I just kind
yeah.
of went, yeah, I'm going to do that. And felt better. So I don't know how much of it was actually still the effects of that. I think a lot of it was just on how heavy the dose of blood thinners were that my blood was so thin.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's quite the experience. And how was that with your family? And I mean, other than
Well, it was
your
right around
brothers.
right before that they divorced. So that was a whole other thing. So that was a whole other conundrum going on
Okay.
at the same time. And then, um, it wasn't the family home anymore. We were trying to get a house together. So after I'd come back and gone through all this and we paid back some of the bills that I'd built up over time, like we did have travel insurance, but you had to pay it back. And it was a whole thing. Uh, I didn't have the money and resources and stability to really pursue going to film school again. And I had to, get a job and pay bills.
Right.
And I think it was, I want to say 7 or 8 years ago was when I got somebody contacted me back in high school and said, hey, I remember you liking film stuff. Do you want to come help me on a set? We just need some people to help out, be BG. And that's kind of how I got back into it.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
And I died 23 times on that movie.
23 times.
Yeah. Yeah. We were like I don't know that it'll ever come out because it's been 8 years, but it was a Die Hard parody that we filmed, first movie ever filmed in the Calgary Tower. And
Okay.
it's called Live Long or Die Hard, a Keith Kincaid adventure. So I was playing SWAT. I played a SWAT officer and terrorist because the terrorists had gas masks and like boiler suits on. So they were like, yeah, anyone that's not currently a SWAT guy or a police guy with their face, we'll throw them in there. Like no one will know.
Nice.
And
Nice.
then because it was a bunch of we were just unpaid volunteers doing it, they didn't have anyone with stunt training.
So did
None of
that
us are
count as a stunt act?
well, we would get shot, and a lot of these people hadn't done anything or were not willing to risk it, so they would kind of like, "Oh no!" We slowly lean to the side, and then I just stupidly went for it. I'd come home with bruises and that, so I died 23 times because they just kept getting me to do it because I would die.
Actually, yeah.
I would
Yeah.
actually go for it, yeah. And I remember one time they had I had a gas mask, and then they'd taken a prosthetic knife and they put it through the eye hole of it. Like the guy had thrown a knife in. And then the other eye completely fogged up. So I couldn't see out of either eye. And I
Oh
had
no.
about, I don't know how well you can tell on camera, but I had about that big of a distance to fall in, where I was going to hit the back of the bar, or I was going to hit the front of these. And there's these two expensive marble bars at the top of the Calgary Tower. And we did that. I think we did about 7 takes of that. And 4 of them, I think I banged my head off of something on there.
Wow.
Yeah. And then it was like I was working at the time at a grocery store, so I'd work there during the day. I'd get off because this was all night shoots, and I'd go straight to there. I'd work with them, go home, sleep 2 hours because I was go back to work, and I did that for I don't know a month or 2 until we finished filming.
You're
And then
crazy.
I'm crazy, yeah.
Yeah,
And then
yeah, yeah.
I got written
Wow,
in to be a character that died with a face on that one too. But yeah, I
yeah,
died 23 times, and the director was like, "Hey, I have you as a SWAT officer shooting you as a terrorist." So
that's awesome.
it's like I'm like I'm
That is
now going
kind
to
of
come
cool.
with a subplot about two brothers on opposite sides of the law, like. And then a guy didn't show up to play the security guard, so I guess it's a third brother. So because I played there's always a security guard. The Nakatomi Plaza security guard. It's like, hey, the tower's closed today. Can't go up there, fellas holding AKs. Like,
So it just yeah, it sounds like you're a one man show more or less. You might as well just play the lead at that point. Um,
well, the
but
guys that played
yeah.
the leader, they were pretty great, and that's how I met Jin. Actually, Jin was playing the Hans Gruber type on that.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. I could see
Yeah,
him fitting that. Yeah, totally.
yeah,
He totally fit that role. We did have another comment just pop up here real quick. This is based on your near death experience story. Uh, just saying, yeah,
that's a
wicked
wicked
story.
story because you're an amazing actor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
And you are. Yeah.
Well, no,
So,
stop it.
so I'm kind of curious. I mean,
It
I slightly bragged about you a little bit before the show.
was all
And
lies. None of it's true. I've never met
I'm
this
just
man
kind of
before in my life.
yeah, never, never.
Barry, it's Barry, right?
Harry,
Barry, Harry,
Harry, Harry.
Harry.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
Harry McLeod.
Harry. Yeah. Well, at least got the last name right. Um, um, have you? Because again, like with your skill set, what I feel you have a really strong skill set. Have you ever thought about making the move to Vancouver or Toronto at any point, or?
I have. Um, it's mainly been kind of a money thing,
No, no, that's fair.
and I mean, a lot of people I know that have gone out there have ended up coming back because how it kind of works is like, sure, the film scene is smaller here, but you know, you're the one in 1,000, we'll say, for a part. But then you go to Vancouver where everyone's trying to be an actor. Or you go to LA where everyone's trying to be an actor. Or you go to Toronto where, I don't know, a fifth of people are trying to be an actor. And suddenly you're the one in 100,000. Especially me, that's just, generic white guy, like everyman white guy. Like
Right.
I've had my type described as I'm just barely ruggedly handsome enough to not be the loser type, but I'm not good looking enough to be the Hallmark type leads, no matter what my mom says. So I'm like that awkward in between where I'm not like the romantic lead, but can't be the like loser character there. So the in between
Eh,
guy. So
okay. Yeah, I can kind of
so
see that, but I mean, it all depends on how you're dressed up in a way as well, right?
true,
Which
yeah. But I mean, it's getting harder for that because now they're not like, oh, let's see what we can do with this guy. They're like, let's find exactly what we have written down because we can have anybody self tape from anywhere.
exactly, and that was going to be my next follow up. Was nowadays with it being self tapes everywhere, are you finding like you're saying that the pool was smaller in Calgary, but now with the self tapes, I'm assuming it's grown exponentially now, right? So
Well, it
I think
has, but it's also I just like Vancouver or Toronto is a gamble in that you got to hope. Like I know people that have moved there and they're suddenly their career takes off, but I've also known probably 4/5 of them that have gone there and suddenly they were back to square one, nobody because nobody knew them. So all of these connections and networking they'd built in Calgary meant nothing
right.
because they're like, oh, what did you do? I did a SATE short film. I'm like, I don't know anyone at SATE. I did a local, like I did the 48-hour challenge film. Oh well, who cares?
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. That's fair, and that's where it's tough in this market, right? Like within Alberta, is even when we have the major productions come through, which you know aren't in abundance, it's tough for us to get something that's meaty, if you will, right? To
yeah.
actually showcase what we can do. And we're
When
still
even
getting like the one or two liners, right?
yeah. Well, and then even then, there's like, I know like some of the people that are doing well that have done jobs here. They're like, when I was a Calgary actor, I couldn't get into the shows that were shooting in Calgary, but they'd look at me as a Vancouver actor, and suddenly they'd be willing to fly me into Calgary, the exact same guys that they wouldn't see in previous seasons, because there's that hint of prestige that, oh, they're from Vancouver. That's a film town.
Yeah, yeah,
So there's that kind of prejudice and that
yeah. That's
backhandedness of it.
exactly, and that's part of the red tape portion of this business that drives me insane. Especially when it comes to the tax credits and all that. And it's like, oh, well,
Mm-hmm.
we can't hire you in Vancouver because you're from Alberta and we don't get the tax break and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that part drives me crazy. But yet they'll fly somebody else in from overseas for that same part. It's like, what?
Yeah. The guy who's
How's
from
that work?
Toronto, let's come over here.
Yeah.
No one could play this. No one could play suburban mom. Like,
Yeah, right.
but
Totally.
this Toronto lady.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, okay. So, I mean, so having this little bit of a conversation, would you say it's still more the money or just the pool that's kind of keeping you from making that transition?
Yes.
Both. All right. Good to know. Yeah.
It's a bit of that. It's a bit. I've kind of ingratiated myself to the production company that I've been working as an ALM with here. So I mean, part of it's not wanting to say goodbye to a sure thing, because I've had film
Yeah.
productions that I'm able to work on fairly steadily. It is a big part of it is definitely the money thing, and also just not knowing people to work with, not having the opportunity to kind of create that smaller stuff. And
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, the fact that you're building your network here, you've got a
Mhm.
pretty solid foundation, I think here, right? I think that's just going to help progress things locally and to the point where you should be getting relatively consistent paid work, I would hope. Um, and so I believe there is the potential to make a market for yourself here.
Yeah.
It just takes longer, I think. Well, maybe not necessarily longer, but because like you said, if you're transitioning to Vancouver, that could be a much longer period of time, especially if you're starting from scratch again.
Yeah, you could either start from scratch, or you just happen to get lucky and you happen to be like the person they're looking for.
Yep.
But
Which,
yeah,
and I'm in the same boat as you. I think I'm probably even more generic than you, honestly.
no, you got the comic
Um,
relief look.
is that what it is? Oh,
Yeah,
I'm funny
yeah,
looking. All right. That's
yeah. You got that. You got that Tom Arnold energy.
oh, Tom Arnold.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. All right. We'll go with that.
I thought you were just gonna hang me out, kick me out of the stream right there.
I was going to, but I can't seem to find the button right now, so you're safe. No, that's all right. I mean, there's worse people than Tom Arnold.
You just gotta shoot back. You just gotta.
Oh, you know what? Actually, that brings up a good point. Do you have any, say, background in? Oh my God, why is it escaping me? Not ad-libbing, but improv.
Improv.
Yeah.
I've got a quick wit.
Just naturally quick wit.
Yeah, I've done some acting essentials courses and things, and I did drama back in high school, which that's a whole other story that I ended up in that, which I don't know if we got time for, where we had to do improv as like exercises. But so I mean, I've got a little bit of that there, but I've never done like improv theater or anything like that. I just
Okay.
kind of spout off witty one-liners like a snarky a-hole.
Yeah.
Just naturally as part of my personality.
The personality improv. Okay. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, I think you and I actually went to the same high school.
Aberhart?
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's where you went to.
Not at the
drama
same year
school.
though.
No, you're much
No.
younger than I am. So
I think
no.
yeah, 1 or 2 years off.
Yeah, there's 1 or 2 decades.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that's where you went to drama school or drama class and stuff like that.
Yeah. So when I was in junior, like I was kind of I'd be more like I am now with a group of friends, but I was more kind of like awkward and socially kind of introverted, I would say, probably most of my life. And then in junior high, our health teacher quit. And so they didn't put forward us into any of the option classes. So when I got to high school, they were like, hey, you've had nothing submitted. This is what's got vacancies in it. You're going to multimedia and you're going to drama.
All right.
And I was somewhat terrified, but I kind of worked through it, got over it. I'd always enjoyed writing and being a writer. And I found once I kind of got more into acting that it was very much like writing. You're doing the same thing if you're a good writer, where you're putting yourself into the mind and head of your character. So it was just kind of viewing it as a more sort of an outward expression of it instead of an internalization. And I kind of picked up on that, started doing pretty well in that. And
Okay.
that's kind of what got me started there.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I always found high school drama, because of course I was in high school drama as well.
Drama
Interesting.
class, high school drama.
Drama
that's
class.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
A
always
Rough Trade song, and it's but every sitcom or Riverdale thing.
Yeah, I haven't watched Riverdale, so
I haven't.
Is it good?
Either? I don't know.
Oh no. Okay.
I just try to stay enough up in the pop culture to try and seem relevant before I age myself up.
Well, it's funny because I was just talking with the wife and kids yesterday about Trivial Pursuit. You know,
Mhm.
I'm sure you've played Trivial Pursuit, and you know they have that category of, you know, TV shows, sports events,
Mhm.
all that kind of stuff, right? And I'm like, there's no way I would be able to answer any of current questions. I don't think I'd be okay with the 80s and 90s stuff, but after that, forget it. I think I
Well,
would fail at all.
there's that famous one now, that Trivial Pursuit, and I think because it came out in 2008 or 10 or whatever, they came out with the cards for it, and it's like, which actor has not played Batman? And it's Adam West, Christian Bale, George Clooney, and Ben Affleck. And now you got, but now you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the answer on that one?
Well, originally it was Ben Affleck
Oh, at the time,
at the
of
time,
course. Yeah,
but
yes,
now
yes,
you're
yes,
sitting
of
there and you're
course.
like, oh.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I didn't even connect the time frame. Yeah, okay.
It's okay.
Interesting. Now it's like, yeah, forget it, it's obsolete. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's awesome.
Although, who knows? That'll never probably happen again, because they're not recasting anyone. They're just going to keep bringing the old guys back.
Yeah, right. Yeah, totally.
Tobey Maguire, get in here. Patrick Stewart, get in here.
Patrick Stewart. That'd be amazing.
He's already back. Yeah, he did Doctor Strange. He's in the trailers. I'm not spoiling anything. He's back as Professor X.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Good enough.
So yeah, they've already started pulling in the old Fox guys and just going, yeah, you just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
No need to recast.
No. It's like, it's a sure thing, right? You don't have to worry about anything. So,
which I'm like, fair. There is the fan service, but I do enjoy seeing new interpretations.
Yeah. No, that's fair too. But again, like that's the way Hollywood's been for a long time, right? It's just rehashing the old stuff and making sure they're gonna get their guaranteed.
Not as bad.
Not as bad?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think, like, if you look at like movies from the early 2000s, like anything pre 2008, I don't think you would have seen as much rehashing.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that. Yeah, to me, it's more recent.
Okay, right? Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
You're saying movies the whole time, and I'm like, I disagree with that. So.
Oh yes, no, sorry, not. I meant more recently for the rehashing of this stuff. Yeah.
No, I miss my mid-budget genre movies.
Yeah, right. No doubt. You know what? I'd love to kind of showcase some of your work if you don't mind. And I've got a clip here for Assassin's League, which you and I worked into together, but not directly.
Yeah, no, I saw you a couple times at the table read, and
yeah,
I requested a scene with you, but
you did.
I did. I think I really want to play the straight man to Gary, like bumbling around. I really just want to be like, I wanted to be the Mike from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
just
Yeah.
like just the done with your shit.
Yeah.
It's like, come on,
That would
Corey, make it happen.
right. That's for the season 2. That's when that'll happen, right, Corey?
Yeah,
That's up to
Corey,
you.
Corey, Corey.
He's busy working right now, so
Oh yeah, no, that
yeah.
man's yeah,
But
that man's
he
got
did
a
say
work
he'd
ethic
watch it
too.
later, so that's for you, Corey. Season 2. Anyway, show some of your work. There's a couple scenes in here.
Mhm.
I love the fact that both scenes you shared on this one. Um, Actually, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm just going to let people watch, and then you and I will chat about it after the fact. So here we go.
We know he's in Switzerland. You know how this goes. Either you tell us, and we find him sooner, or you won't be alive when we do.
I don't know where he is. I don't know who shot Mercredi. But if you let me go, I'll find out.
How many times have you been in this chair? You know how this works. You lie, you get hurt.
Vous êtes influent. No. You were too small to be a spy.
Peut-être. Mais j'étais pas trop petit pour ta sœur.
Salaud! Yes.
An American who speaks French.
A terrorist who speaks English.
I didn't submit those. I submitted that Mac and Me clip that Paul Rudd always does on Conan. What's going on here?
That would have.
Where did you get that?
I wish I had thought of that. That would have been amazing to throw up there. That would have been fun.
Now I ruined it. Now you can't use it for the next clip.
No, I can't. That's it. Oh, that's funny.
I do have one interesting thing to note because I don't know if my brother or anyone else who speaks French is watching. My brother's probably not watching, but so I had to teach Omada French for this scene, which he does not speak.
Right.
And I'd kind of get it going, and then we'd shoot, and everyone's got to try and add a little bit of French flair to it. But when you don't speak the language, that changes the words a little. So instead of asking me if he's a spy, I can't remember with the clip, but I remember when we did it, he asked me if I was both Spanish, a scorpion, or an onion at various times. and then where I tell him that I'm too big for his sister, he's supposed to say salut, which is like bastard or curse word, but he went salut, which is hi. So he's going like hello. It's just a little friendly tidbit there.
Right. Yeah.
Little info. Hopefully
Well,
I didn't
and
ruin that scene for anyone.
and honestly, like I don't speak French either, so I definitely wouldn't have picked up on it. So thank you for clarifying that with me.
No, but I giggle every time I watch where he's like about to rifle whip me and while saying hello.
Hello. And then
no one expects the Omada Inquisition.
right, and so I mean, we might as well talk. I want to go back to the first half of that scene as well, or that clip. But
The freezing
since
scene?
we're yeah,
Okay,
exactly. But before we go back to that, we might as well talk about the Omada one a bit more. And
Your
that
favorite
actual
story. Yeah.
it is my favorite story. I do love this one, and I'd love for you to share it with folks and how that scene actually rolled out.
Well, one thing is that we both worked with Corey. We know that we get the scripts last minute. So we're getting the scripts, and then while we're on the scene, we're talking about it, and in the script it says I get hit in the gut, and I cough up blood, and we're sitting there, and we're like, well, if you get hit in the gut and you're coughing up blood, like you're done. Like I'm not getting up and doing stuff after the scene, like because that's the first episode. I had a whole storyline to go, right?
Right.
And so we're talking about that, and I'm sitting there and I'm tied to this chair, right? And Corey's like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And then we're like, yeah, maybe we'll have you get hit in the face. But he's talking to, he's getting the camera set up, he's getting the lighting set up, he's talking to Amada and getting the guns, like he's doing his technician stuff, but I'm tied to a chair. So I'm sitting there, and he's like, okay, let's go do one. And I'm like, okay, which hit are we doing? And he's like, the one in the script, Chris. But he told Amada to hit me in the face. I thought I was getting hit in the gut. So I leaned forward to get hit in the, like I'm getting hit in the gut, like, oh, and he's swinging the rifle, and it's a full weight replica, and he just cracks me right across the face. And I remember that. And the thing is, when you get hit in the face, you don't do the movie thing where you go like, you just kind of sit there stunned.
You're
So
right,
they're sitting there and they're like, hey, Chris, can you give us a little bit more on the next one? I'm like, yeah.
just let me gain consciousness first, and
So
then we'll try again.
I don't know if I think that for one of them, I think that's the take they used, but you can tell if you look at Omada's arm through the rest of the scene, he's got the fake blood that he took off of my face by hitting me with the arm. And then there's Amanda Tozer, our amazing makeup artist. She'd given me this huge gash across the face, and it was covered in blood. So she's taking it off at the end of the day. But when everyone says, "Oh, you're the nicest person," I'm like, "No, you haven't met Amanda Tozer. Amanda's way nicer than I could ever aspire to be." But she's taking it off, and I remember she was kind of peeling at it with one piece on my cheek. Right? She's like, "Oh, like it's really like neat welt there. Like I didn't really," and she's just peeling it. I'm like, "That's my face." Like,
Yeah,
I had a huge welt across my cheek. And then I had to go into my day job the next day, and like I just looked like I got in a bar brawl, like a big welt and black eye coming into work. Like I thought you were going to a film set, It's like a rough rap party. Like,
yeah, right. Whereas, yeah,
you
she's
should see the other guy, not a scratch on him.
totally, yeah.
Yeah.
Where she was probably like, I am an amazing makeup artist.
Yeah, and she is.
Oh, she is, absolutely.
Yeah,
I know
like I
it,
mean, like the gash was hers. It was just under it was that, and
just yeah,
trying to peel my real skin off, so I had like a nail scratch there too. Just peeling it off, and I'm like, that's my face.
yeah. So yeah, definitely one of my favorite stories. I always love listening to stories of things like that, where that kind of
people
stuff
get
happens
hurt?
on set. Sometimes I don't know what I
bastard.
am. Yeah, a bit of a sick bastard, I think, that way. Yep.
Okay, I'll call it even for me calling you Tom Arnold earlier.
No, we're not even yet.
Oh, fair enough. Someone thought I was Rupert Grint the other day.
Really?
I had somebody text me, and they're like, I just saw you in that Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. And I'm like, listen, if I was in the Del Toro thing, like it would be everywhere. You wouldn't just be spotting and hearing about it now.
Yeah,
and sitting
right.
there, and I'm like, who do you think? Like, which one did you think was me? And we're going over, and he sends me a picture, and I'm like, that's Ron Weasley. Like, I'm not even that redheaded. Like,
I would have to look pretty hard to kind of see that resemblance, I think.
yeah.
That's
I've been told I
interesting.
look like different people, but that was a new one.
I mean, when I was younger and much thinner than I am now, I had people mistake me for two different people. One was Michael J. Fox, and the other was Bruce Willis. Two totally different looking people.
Okay,
But
I've seen none of those.
either did I. But I actually went into like a Mr. Sub to get a sub, and they thought I was Bruce Willis.
when I was in Australia and everyone was drunk, they thought I was Neil Patrick Harris.
Oh, really? See, I don't see that either.
Well, I was younger and slimmer then too. I was well dressed, and that was How I Met Your Mother, so everyone sees the suit and stuff. And Australians couldn't really tell the difference between a Canadian and an American. So,
Well, yeah.
And and everyone's drunk.
Yeah.
And
Right.
but the problem was that drunk Schuler had to be right. So I had to prove to that. Everyone was like trying to buy me drinks and get autographs, and all the girls were flirting with me and everything. And I was like, no. I'm know-it-all. I have to be right. So I'm pulling my passport out. I'm like, that is me. I am not Neil Patrick Harris.
See, I thought you'd be taking advantage of that. Like, yeah, give me the free alcohol.
I should have, but
you know.
I'm especially when I'm drunk. I'm a dumb, stubborn man.
You're just like, no, I'm right. Screw you
right.
guys.
I'm not successful. How dare you?
You're right. Yeah, try
I'm a
and
successful
make me successful.
movie sitcom star. I'll show you.
I will prove you wrong.
But then I get other people along the gambit too. Like I get Richard Roxburgh. I used to get Jude Law. I still get Jude Law. I used to get Heath Ledger when he was alive. I had the longer blonde hair. Hayden
Okay.
Christensen. So I kind of get along the gambit.
All right. Yeah, and I see none of those, but
I know. I see none of them. I see none of them either.
it's
maybe
funny how...
maybe Jude Law a little when I'm clean shaven, but
Actually, yeah, I could see that. Yeah, with if you're clean shaven, maybe. Yeah.
we got the same butt chin.
I mean, I can't tell with the beard, so I don't know.
That's what it's there to hide. My
Yeah.
dignity.
Well, I usually grow mine out to hide the double chin a bit. Is what I kind of hide it. Anyway, yeah. If I actually
maybe let it grow out a little longer next time.
I think so.
I'm turning into Chengays. We talked about this in the pre-show. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no doubt. Which, by the way, as people know, he's a bit of a host of the show as well throughout the seasons and the last few seasons, anyway.
Like a parasitic host.
Right? Totally. And I don't know. Did you catch the last episode that he hosted?
Possibly. Which one was that?
That was with a guy by the name of Eric Fellows. He's out of L.A., I think, actually.
No, I was. We started production by then, so.
Yeah, because I think that was.
I've had no free time.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Whenever I'm on a show, like everyone's like, "Hey, when are you free?" And I'm like, 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, totally right.
I'm working 80 to 90 hour weeks. Like,
well, and okay, so because the episode was actually last week, so yeah, you most likely didn't see it, but
I apologize. I'm still a big fan. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, all that stuff. But you know what? There was an interesting thing that happened because you and Chingays have known each other quite some time, I think, right?
Yeah, about the same time as you, I think.
Oh, really? I thought it was actually a bit longer, but
5 or 6 years. I've seen him in a lot of stuff. I met him on the set of Heretic, so I met him covered in blood and in my underwear, crying.
Okay.
And then they got me dressed up for Heretic.
All right.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I actually saved it, or we got a little clip from that last episode because he actually mentioned you in the show, and I thought it was worth sharing.
Okay.
So if you don't mind, I'll show that clip. There we go.
Guys, thank you so much for joining me on Talent Talk. Next week's guest, I believe, is Eric Schuler, and it's not Eric, it's Chris. Now, the funny thing about that is I've known Chris for a number of years. This is Eric. That's going to be Chris. You know what? We'll star F him later, next week. It'll either be Gary or me. Probably Gary, due to how this went. All right.
If I would have watched it, I would have come on as Eric. That's a better stage name. Chris Schuler just sounds like one word that you kind of gargle.
Hey guys, happy 100th episode! Woo! Hey, sorry it says 50, but you can look at it twice.
That's my weight in kilograms.
Happy. Hey man, I'm happy to see you. I am happy to see you here. And Gary, congratulations on the 100th episode. First of all.
Oh, thanks, man.
And secondly, thanks for letting me come on let me be on for a ride a little bit too, because I think you've only done 83 episodes. So anyway.
I just want to put it in my rider. I'd like to know about the threesome before I get invited into it. Just a little bit of awareness before this little menage a trois happens.
Look, don't get all French on me now. This is actually very fortuitous, Chris, because I did the last episode. I thought I was doing this episode too, but Gary's like, it's the 100th episode, it's mine, so he's taking it, and that's fine. He's the boss. But I did actually mention you in last week's episode, and I just flubbed. I just made a little barely noticeable. Wouldn't even notice it. But anyway, it's good to see you here today.
Yeah, we actually just watched that clip. So
we just watched it.
Yeah. Just literally, just before you popped on, that was kind of crazy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought that was I thought it was funny, so I showed
I
her.
thought it was great. Chungus Javert.
All right. Well, I prepared a top 10. I prepared a list of why you should watch Talent Talk, but
I thought it was going to be top 10 times Chris Schuler has been hurt in film. I thought that was the list of.
no. You know what? I think I'm.
You're dating yourself with the Dave Letterman here.
I'm sorry, man. What can I say? Sorry, guys. Eric, can we put the noise on that in post? All right. You know what? I'm gonna go.
Don't go.
Thanks for no.
Someone finally dressed up for the job.
It's all right.
The rest of us showed up slackers, and one of us actually looks like one of us is looking like a young Harry Carey here. I just dated myself.
Definitely not me.
That's not going to play.
That just means you've watched. That just means you've watched SNL in the mid '90s. That's all.
Yeah,
that
I'm
is.
like some '80s Chicago Cubs fan is just
All right,
like
guys.
kissing themselves laughing.
I'm gonna go. God damn.
Well, thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, you know what? I'll see you in the next 100 episodes. All right. How do I turn this fucking thing off? There we are. Okay,
Love
bye.
you, Chingays.
Bye.
Bye.
And like that, 120% of the charisma just left.
What do you mean?
I'm me. It's a shot at me.
Oh, all right. That works.
Like I got a handler over here. I got a doorway.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I was waiting for him to burst out here now. Like,
Well, honestly, that's it's probably not a bad way to end the show. Actually, while we still have.
well, we never
some
actually
charisma
got back to your story.
lingering.
We're going to talk about your Frozen story and that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we should get back to that for sure. How cold was it that day?
Minus
Because man,
40 something. And we were shooting, I want to say we were shooting on a remote farm. I want to say by Acme. It was so cold that the small generator we brought along and the heaters wouldn't work. The lighters wouldn't work. So it took us about 15 minutes to light the cigarette that I smoked just after that scene. Yeah, like I was sitting there and I was trying to hold it and my hands are just red and I was trying to light it. And then I went inside to warm up. And I remember I dropped the cigarette and they were just like, Corey's like, come on, Chris, we got to go. We got to shoot again. And I'm sitting there and I can't pick the cigarette up because my hands won't work. They won't close because I'm just wearing a leather jacket in that scene. I've got like a leather jacket and a sweater. Simon, the gentleman that's bleeding all over my clean shoes, he had it worse than I did because prosthetics were freezing to his face, and he was just wearing a sweater. Didn't even get the leather jacket, so it was a rough day. Yeah,
I could tell just from I was gonna joke around and say, oh, so how'd you guys get the dry ice to come out of your mouth and stuff? But then I thought, no, that sucks. So I decided not to say that. But yet I said.
But then you did it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's how we roll on the show.
There, eh?
Yeah, it's how we roll on the show. Anyway, yeah, like we're up to an hour, man. So I think we'll kind of call it there. But I do appreciate you coming on the show and chatting with us and all
I'm
that
not
stuff.
ready to leave.
You're not ready to leave?
I'm not ready to leave. I'm just getting comfortable.
Well, I'm gonna leave. You can just keep talking on the camera.
Is anyone in here?
If
It
you don't
doesn't tell
mind-
me. It doesn't tell me who's in the studio. So
Doesn't tell you who's in the studio.
yeah,
Like watching.
yeah.
Uh,
I was like, I want to see if there's anyone here. I'll just stay here.
there you go.
Talent Talk with Chris Schuler coming up
Just-
now.
Talking to himself about himself. It's like a Shia LaBeouf scenario.
I'm not watching it.
You will later, though.
No, I'm just watching Mac and Me clips.
All right.
Just on a repeat.
Well, you and I can continue after the show, but show-wise, I think we're good.
Okay.
All right.
Will Chingays come in after the show too, or
I don't know. That's up to him.
Camera B?
We'll see.
Sorry, Camera B. I see that's his name now. That didn't work at all. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, we'll definitely have a chat with him, I'm sure. But yeah, thanks for coming on the show, man. Totally
Thanks for having
appreciate
me.
it. And like I
Next
said,
time I'll
I
dress
foreseen
up and
great
get better
things.
lighting.
Oh, dude, I'm wearing my "You Can't Scare Me, I Have Two Daughters" shirt, so you can't get more casual
Challenge
than that.
accepted.
Yeah, and bring it on.
I'm gonna need you to be emotionally available and vulnerable.
I'm not that good of an actor, so I don't know if I can pull that off. We'll have to see. But all right, thanks, man, and we'll be back next week with another guest. Of which Chingaze will be hosting that next episode. So the charisma you
Who's our
just saw
next
a few minutes
guest?
ago, her name is Aisha Rose. Is her name?
Hey, Chingaze, notice how we got both the first and right name correct.
Yeah, I was worried actually for a second that I was gonna actually, oh my, wow, that's kind of interesting.
Uh-oh, what?
I just had a post come up in our comments. I have to share it because it just doesn't seem right that I don't.
Find
Yeah,
yourself a hot girl here.
yeah, just popped up from a little comment in YouTube. So thanks, 69xxx.life. Appreciate your comments. Thanks for watching. That was weird. All right. And a great place to leave it, I think. So anyway, there you go. Thanks, everybody. See you next week, and have a great weekend.